Hey guys, Zor here from ZorGameGeek.com. Today we're going to talk about the Gumshoe role-playing game and about character creation. Just one little important aspect of character creation that makes it a little different than your other role-playing games. Some of them have elements of this, but only Gumshoe just takes this feature and runs it to the hilt. And that is build points. Whoa, you say, wait, there's lots of games that have build points. Shadowrun comes to mind, where you have these points and you get to spend them on your different abilities and things like that. But what Gumshoe does is it lets you save all of your unspent build points. In Shadowrun, the various editions, you can save a few of them for later, and they call them karma in Shadowrun, but we call them build points in Gumshoe. It allows you to save them and use them, spend them on an ability at any time, even in the middle of combat. Say, for example, you are in the middle of combat, and in Gumshoe, we'll cover this in another video, but in Gumshoe, your health can go down to a -12. When you're at -12, you are dead. If you're below 0, you're slightly or seriously wounded, and you have some penalties. You have some things you can and can't do, and your difficulty level numbers go up, and on you go. But let's say that you are trying to stay conscious. Because again, if in most of the settings, if you are below 0 and you're trying to do an action, you have to make a consciousness roll to stay awake. And you get to spend your health points like any other general ability, because health is a general ability, just like shooting or athletics. It is something you can spend your build points on. And when you make that test number and you're at a, well, we'll deal with consciousness rolls a little bit later. We're talking about build points. You can spend your unspent build points to boost your hit points back up, because you're at -1 and you don't want to have to even make the consciousness roll. And so you have 5 unspent build points. So you're going to dump all 5, all 3, 2, whatever it is to get you up to 1. So you're no longer at 0 or below and have to get these penalties. You can also use this in other areas. You can use this with like your shooting skill, and you are on to your 3rd or 4th combat of this investigation, and you have a shooting pool of 8 or 9, which is a high pool, but you've used them all up because you wanted to get those guaranteed hits, and you want to get another guaranteed hit, which generally speaking means you got to spend 3 points, and you have again 5 points ready to go with your unspent build points that you maybe saved from character creation, or you've got them as you completed investigation, and through advancement you have those build points. And you really want to get that +3 because you know that you're going to get this kill shot if you can just land it. Well, you spend your 3 points right then and there, and that means your ranks go up. You go from an 8 up to an 11, and now you have 3 pool points to spend right away. That keeps the action alive and uses up resources. That is, again, the point of, that's the tension in these games, especially with Gumshoe, where there are some guaranteed successes. The investigative skills, and if you spend enough points, guaranteed successes in your general ability tests. So these build points are just another pool that you have built up that you're using up. Now, you may say, well, what about a new skill? I get how I've been using my concentration up and my energy up to shoot because I have an 8, and I'm making sure I'm aiming to get that kill shot, and I'm getting tired, and I dig down deep, and we have this in-world fiction of digging down deep and just finding that inner reserve to just make that last shot to win the scenario. But what about if you're adding a new skill completely? Let's say it's an investigative skill, because recall, with investigative skills, with Gumshoe, You are assumed to be competent at what you do. When you're investigating something, and let's say the skill is digital intrusion. That's a nice Knights Black Agents, super spy, techno thriller setting, and digital intrusion is hacking. It's being able to hack your way into computer systems. If the computer system is a little bit more encrypted, like the CIA's, then you're gonna have to spend extra points, extra pool points to break all the way in. You may be able to find some little stuff, because remember, the outcome is not in question with investigative abilities in Gumshoe. You're saying, I'm hacking into the CIA, and you're gonna get something if there's something there to be had. But if you need something more, then you spend your points. But let's say that your character's the tough. They're the bruiser. They're the wet worker, where all of their investigative abilities are and general abilities are focused more around combat and interpersonal, intimidation, interrogation, cop talk, military sciences, things like that, because they were a special forces operative. And they have no other computer skills whatsoever. But for whatever reason, right here and right now in your scenario, your hacker is not present. He's in another scene. You guys had to split the party for whatever reason, and there's this locked door, this key card door that you are trying to get through, or maybe you're at a computer terminal that's not hooked up to the net, because that's the best way of securing electronic data, is to not wire it to the internet. And instead, you have to physically be at the station to hack in and find the information and to be able to pull it out. Or maybe your hacker's with you and he's unconscious because you had to fight your way in and you got 5 minutes to get this information and haul your team back out. And the only person with digital intrusion, yeah, they're down. So what do? I have these build points. Boom. I am now an expert in digital intrusion. Well, how can that be? You're the tough, you're the thug. Flashback montage, okay? You're not suddenly downloading information into your cerebral cortex and expressing that. You were that expert all along. It just has never come up as part of your background and storyline, okay? And so you get to tell a little bit about your character, and maybe you're making it up on the spot, but that's a role-playing game. It's improvisational. You're making this up to talk about how you were in the special forces, or you had some sort of training before you went into the special forces, or maybe you were a Silicon Valley nerd and then 9/11 happened and you joined the military and you went that direction. Whatever that is, you tell your story about how you are now an expert at digital intrusion, at hacking in, because you just spent one of your build points and put it as a rank in digital intrusion, and now you get to get that core clue. That is something that is exciting and dynamic, because Gumshoe doesn't want to stop the fun. It wants you to keep pushing forward, to keep going, and using your investigation to push you into danger, and that danger to push you towards your next clue. And that's the cycle that it reinforces. And being able to spend your build points from character creation just furthers that fun and uses up character resources. All right, guys, thanks for listening. If you want to learn more about character creation in Gumshoe role-playing games, go to zorgamegeek.com/gumshoecreate. Link below. Again, that's zorgamegeek.com/gumshoecreate. Thanks for listening, guys. Keep gaming.